So we welcome to the show Al Bossy, Canadian chef, known as the Kilted Chef, and also Michael Howell, another Canadian chef who are over in the UK and are going to be for Canada Day as well. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Thanks very much for joining us on the show. Canada's birthday then, the 1st of July, happens every year. Why?
Celebration of Confederation, first in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, over 100 years ago. So we get together and party on July 1st.
Awesome. What happens? What's it all about then?
Canada Day celebration is celebrated throughout every single province. There's all kinds of activities, and it always revolves around food. It's great.
Excellent. And now you guys have had masses. I mean, you're kind of culinary heroes, I guess, in Canada, aren't you? Both very, very well known. Have been on incredible tours of duty, actually, when I'm looking at some of the restaurants and the various different things that you've been involved in, and books and everything else. But with regards to celebration and stuff, then you're in the UK. Why? Surely you're feeling a bit homesick at the moment, aren't you?
Not yet.
I think when somebody told us that 80,000 people celebrate Canada Day in London, I thought that was an extraordinary opportunity for both of us.
That's pretty cool. And so you're promoting Canadian produce while you're over here, aren't you?
That's correct. We're promoting all kinds of specifically more Nova Scotia product and seafood. The king of the sea, the lobster, of course, the beautiful scallops, and lots of different local products from our regions.
Is crab one of the products that you guys...
Crab is a fantastic product available in our region, all across Canada, but certainly in Nova Scotia we have wonderful crab available that we'll hopefully have here too.
I'm pretty sure that's been made quite famous recently by all of these trawler men type programs that have been on television in the UK.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They make it. It's a very dangerous fishery, and they've really glamorized it with the reality shows. But what they are fishing and what you're seeing is a king crab versus the crab that we are indigenous to our area is more a snow crab or a rock crab.
Okay. And what are you guys most famous for, or what do you feel most famous for in terms of produce from Canada?
Look, I think lobster has got to be considered one of our greatest products that we export all over the world and indeed cook in our own kitchens at the same time too. My own restaurant in Nova Scotia is only about 100 kilometers or about 80 miles from Digby, which is sort of the home of the scallop, known around the world as the Digby scallop. So those are two really, really great and fabulous products, which we will have here. And of course, we cook back home in Nova Scotia.
I have noticed actually with the food and drink show that when we go around to restaurants, a lot of because we very often, well, at every restaurant actually, we ask the chef to produce a dish and talk us through it so that our listeners can attempt to recreate it. I'm not quite sure how successful our listenership's been with some of the dishes, but a lot of them have involved scallops, and most of the scallops do come from either Canada or the US, and they seem to be a lot larger than the scallops that we find sort of closer to home. Is that something that you guys are known for?
Yeah, I mean, the majesty of the sea and the Georges Bank and areas where scallops are harvested are ripe and pristine, and there's lots of them in the ocean. And so as a consequence, there's lots of big ones that come up and are harvested.
So are you actually doing anything in London for July the 1st and the 80,000 people that are celebrating it? Are you going to be cooking for them?
Yeah, we sure are. Michael and I have decided to split the two novelty products, as we call it. Or I'm in charge of lobster, and Michael is doing the magnificent scallop. And you were talking about simplicity and recipes for your viewers, your listeners. Sorry. A simple recipe would be the classic lobster roll that we're going to be doing on Trafalgar Square, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And Al, I've got to ask you, what's it like being the culinary ambassador of Nova Scotia? What's that accolade mean to you?
Well, first of all, it's very humbling and wonderful to have been chosen to be that. We all have culinary in our hearts, and I think we're all very passionate about what we do. And being chosen is just, it's very humbling.
And Michael, I've got to ask you as well, that you're leader of Slow Food Nova Scotia. I'm a bit fascinated as to what that is.
Well, Slow Food is an international organization devoted to good, clean, and fair food. It's actually started in Italy many, many years ago. It's expanded to over 100 countries. Chefs like myself and Alain is also a member of Slow Food, just really trying to respect tradition, food quality, and respect for the earth when it comes to actually harvesting and cooking food.
And do you guys both have books and websites and stuff going on?
I have published a cookbook a couple of years ago called The Atlantic Seafood, Chefs by Me, which was all featuring Atlantic Canadian seafoods, 50 different recipes with a bent on harvesting and cooking with sustainable products.
On my end, I have two in the works now. One that I've collaborated with the Fortress of Louisbourg, which is an amazing location to visit in Nova Scotia. And we're basically redone a historical cookbook based on the 18th century of way of cooking, the French coming to Nova Scotia. And I'm also working on a mussel cookbook right now.
Cool. And when are those going to be appearing?
The first one is actually due to come out in September.
Awesome. Okay, great. Now, guys, I can't have you on without asking you to help us out with something, so it's got to be about Canada Day, hasn't it? Our listenership are foodies. They're into food, they're into trying new stuff, they're into wrecking the kitchen based on recipes that they hear on this show. We've got to celebrate Canada Day in foodie style. What are we going to do? What's everybody got to make?
I'll make the lobster roll. I'll give it to you straight up, so it's simple, and your listeners will enjoy doing it. And it's extremely traditional. You basically shuck everything there is in the lobster as far as the meat goes. And if you come to visit us, we can show you how to do that from top to bottom. You just take the meat and dice it up with a little bit of fresh celery, a little bit of basil. And from there, you add a tiny bit of mayonnaise just to bind it together, and you serve it on a bun. But the bun itself has to be extremely well buttered and grilled on both sides. And I mean that. That's where the flavor is going to come in and enhance that wonderful lobster.
So we're almost talking about a lobster burger here, are we?
It's more like a lobster dog.
Lobster dog, love it.
And that recipe is on the Taste of Nova Scotia website, tasteofnovascotia.com.
Fantastic. Guys, I really appreciate you spending the time to talk to us this morning, because I know how busy you're going to be. And the best of luck for the first.
Thank you very much, Mark.